Well, good morning, turfers. Welcome to a bright, sunny, dry Saturday in Bonnyrigg, or rather, the policies of Dalhousie Castle Hotel. So we're trying a little experiment today, turfing wise. We're on the Harley Quinn single speed. And the testing is to try and find out just what the capabilities are of this bike off-road, particularly the gear ratios and tyres. So I've got a ratio of 2:1 at the moment, so for one rotation of the pedals the rear wheel goes round twice. So all this is for my build of the Surly Ogre single speed, to kind of determine the optimum setup. And I think I'm going to get off here, otherwise I'm going to be stung to bits with all these nettles because I've got shorts on. So it's a bit of a shortcoming, if you'll excuse the pun. It's the trouble with this path. Doesn't get used much nowadays. When we moved here 20 years ago, you could drive a car up here. Not anymore. I've been round a few times and tried to clear a path, but vegetation just takes over, particularly these nettles. I'd rather not have hot legs. Oops. We'll come back a different way, I think. Right, clear some vegetation off the bike and we're good to go. So we've got quite a mix of terrain around here. Little narrow paths, got some woodland coniferous trails, and we've got some field paths around the edges of fields, or perhaps along the tram lines of the field. Bloody nettles. Ouch. Stung again. I don't think you ever get any resistance to nettle stings. Never get used to it. I suppose you can ignore it, but anyway, that should be that. So this is a kind of first actually for me, single speeding off-road. I suppose it's just down to what your comfort you're prepared to put up with and keep the speed down. You're not going to get a great speed. So here we are, first zone, which would be much better if I switched the phone on. There we go. Taking zone. Zone taken. And it's still a neutral as well. So on we go. Nice and dry today. Not really an accurate test, I suppose. But somebody shouting for their dog along here. Dog's done a runner.
Dodgy!
Hi there. Can't help thinking, if your dog's going to run off, why are you letting it off the lead? Especially when you're elderly and with a walking stick. So, anyway, this seems fine so far. A little slow bit here with tree roots. You have to turn the pedals a little bit harder to keep momentum going. I suppose it's flat as well. So I'll head up and get the zone at the bridge up here. I must admit, when you're on these little trails, to get a comfortable line you need to kind of keep out the saddle and to keep the pedals going. None of this blarting through high speed on a full susser. Right, so down here to the bridge. I suppose if I was to follow all the manufacturer's guidance on the web, I should purchase a gravel bike. Can't help think it's a load of nonsense. Just a marketing exercise. There we go, Deanwood Pass, still neutral. I think I'm getting this strap in the line. Now here's a test. Am I going to be able to cycle up that slope? I doubt it. I'll get about there. And I can't turn the pedals. But to be honest, it's no real hardship getting off, pushing. There's hardly any weight on the bike to push. And we go. I suppose you'd call the conditions of this path at the moment is hard pack, dried up mud. You know, so far this 2-to-1 ratio, I don't see any reason to change that. Certainly not to go too low. And I can't see many of the routes I'm going to be going are going to require much climbing. I'm certainly not going to be doing Glen Trace. Oh well, nearly crashed my gentleman's parts there. Ooh. In fact, I think I did crash my gentleman's parts slightly. So this is the coniferous section, which I don't see will present any problems. Even in wet weather, it's easy enough along here. I think the real challenge is the next two zones on the edges of ploughed fields, ploughed and planted fields. Actually, before we head out onto the field there, I want just to show you, why have you gone upside down? Show you my tyre. It looks like I'm upside down. I'm not quite sure whether that's going to work or not. Anyway, turf t-shirt, genuine, bought not at a charity shop like some people who apparently buy them there. Not quite sure why I'm going upside down here. Anyway, back onto the bike. More nettles, thistles, rough ground, pockets you can't, potholes you can't see. Now, I think we'll go across to the tractor lines with a bit of luck and be able to cycle here. I don't know if you remember my last video. Came down here with a Pugsley. It was fairly sugary. There's a bit, but the tractor tread marks have all broken down a bit, so it's not too bad. So the zone's up the end of this field. Actually, let's just leave the bike, I think. And just wander down, get this zone. And I can see where the crop's been trodden a little bit, which would tend to suggest turfers. There you go. Can you see that? There, it's on taken. There we go. Well, that was easier than expected, actually. So at the moment, I think the Ogre build, well, apart from being as light as I can make it, if I can get it down to, well, 12 kilograms, 10 kilograms we were pushing it, but might just go with the 2-to-1 and 35mm tyres, perhaps with a little bit more grip than these ones. Right, dismount here. Right, back into the wood, on to the next zone. This is actually, well, not this part, but the early part there was take two. I actually set out without the chest mount. I was going to set up the cameras, record me passing by and show off the Turf Scotland t-shirt, but couldn't be bothered, so a lot of work on that. So I went back to the house and got the chest mount. Right, there's the track here, up here. Well, this one looks like it's not broken down as much. So we're going to get sugared. That's not too bad. Crop's a bit further ahead on this one, it's barley. The only slight disadvantage of following the tram line here is that it doesn't go through the zone. So we'll need to put the bike down and step gingerly across the crop without damaging it. Doing something akin to a Monty Python walk. Right, that's us there. Handy gap there. I'll go and get this zone without trying to damage the crop. Anyway, I suppose if you just stand between the rows, you're doing a good job. There we go. Taking zone. Dalhousie path. And then back the same way. There we go. Zone taken. Right. I always think, about bikes, mountain bikes and gravel bikes, fat bikes as well. You wonder if they're all just a marketing thing. Because in the olden days you had a road bike, and then you had a road bike adapted as a cyclocross bike, and that was it. And those did fine. People managed. I suppose this has all opened up cycling to more people, which is a good thing. Right, up the road now. I'm not going to go around the field and get a bit of welly on here. So coming up for the field track now, down to zone watch the mud. So there shouldn't be any of that today. There we go. Ticking zone. Turn it up a bit. Give you a wee panorama here. If I can get the camera off the mount. There we go. I don't understand why that's showing me as upside down. Must be a settings changed. So hopefully that's filming the right way up now. Must have touched one of the settings on the touch screen, which is quite easy to do. And here's a little downside to the skinny tyres. Can't really blast off fast down these gravelly tracks. Well, you could, but it's dead uncomfortable. Probably not good for the bike either. So it'll take our time. Kind of suggests I might go for 40mm tyres or something. Or something wider anyway. The Ogre will certainly accommodate a good width of tyre. I think up to about 2.5 inches. So. But I want to keep the weight down as well. Obviously you can't see that, but my shorts were falling off the back. I think the seat was just pulling them down a bit. I don't favour cycling shorts, the skin tight lycra ones. I much prefer cheap swimming shorts, board shorts. Right, let's see if we can ride down here. Little pit holes here. where it's been ploughed and doing all right. Carefully, slowly, pick your line. And into the wood. It gets quite gnarly down here. I think we'll need to get off here. Pine cones, not pine cones, dry pine needles on the slope are actually quite slippy. I don't think I'd be able to limbo dance under that one. But let's give it a go. See how far we can ride without falling off or getting stung, and the answer is not very far. There's a bit of trail maintenance down here. People just don't do it, do they? Right, here we are, down at river. So, no a choice here, we can follow this little path on the river side of the fence, or you could lift your bike out into the field there, which is relatively flat, and go that way. But for today's exercise, let's try the path. I'm not going to get up there. This is the kind of location where I aim to keep the bike as light as possible. Makes it a lot easier for me. For some reason it always hurts my back if I'm lugging a heavy bike. I think I'm going to go into the field. So much easier lifting the bike over than a 16 or is it an 18 kilogram Pugsley. Yeah, it's a bit easier. It's still a bit rough, mind, and you need to watch out for cow pats. I think we'll go with this option. Making much better progress. You do get out the saddle a lot more on a single speed. It's funny, yesterday I was on the Shahan crossing, goes, "You've got a 4-pack." It must have just been a trick of the light. Mind you, it was a bit of mess. She didn't say 6-pack. Right, South Esk side zone taken. Neutral still. So let's head back into the wood now. Oh, so easy to lift the bike over. Pleased with that. I've actually ordered some things this morning. I can take 1.5 kilograms off the weight by changing the tyres and tubes. So I've ordered a set of Schwalbe Marathon Racer tyres, which I managed to find on eBay, 2 for £34, which is about half price from a bankrupt bike stock supplier. Lots of squirrels about, squirreling about the place. So the next zone is Millholm. Now I've just been thinking there, do I need to do the Pugsley, the Ogre as a single speed? If this does the job fine. Oh yeah, let's do it. Now this bit usually gets a lot of brambles overgrown. You fair rip your ankles. Now there's no way I'm going to get up these hills. As far as I'm going to get there. There's zero chance of getting up the top bit. Get the zone now. I think I'll stop for a wee dram of the clear nectar.
Zone taken.
Was in water. So as you can see, I'm not even going to attempt this hill. Done it the last time. Not this time now. Can't even turn the pedals in such a high gear. I just had an idea though. There's a photograph I like to take. Yeah, so just take a little photograph. I've always wanted to do that. You'll see it later. So, we're down now to the castle and get the witch's house. Now, these steps have all dried, so should be easy enough. Bottom 2 or 3 steps have collapsed and basically gone. we can cycle down here. This always reminds me of Tolkien. It's misty mountains and the mines of Moria. The Troll Bridge here. Let's say when you get back I'll download this footage, and it can actually take 2 or 3 times as long to edit it as it does to actually record it out in the fields or to ride the whole route. Here we are, Witch's house. I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but the name came about when I met a family, and the little girl was asking her mum, "Can we go to the witch's house, mum?"
Taking zone.
So it's actually just a folly.
Leaving zone.
Nope. Leaving zone.
Taking zone.
Taking zone. Zone taken.
Zone taken.
Another neutral. In fact, they've all been neutral today. So we'll go around the castle, get the one in the car park, and that will be our circuit of Dalhousie complete. And of course this is a test, so my conclusions are: A, do I need another bike at all? Certainly a 35mm does the job fine in these conditions. Wet will be different though, muddy different. The gear ratio, coping fine actually. So, some decisions to make. Like there's a wedding on. Takes a bit of getting going though, on these little slopes even. Get this one. Have to go in the grass though.
Taking zone.
There we go. Dalhousie.
Zone taken.
And that's us. Onto some nice smooth tarmac.